Most people are chasing success. Very few realize that kindness is the shortcut. Yes, you heard me right. Kindness towards others, and more importantly, towards ourselves, is one of the most overlooked tools for building trust, deeper relationships, and real inner peace, the foundations of success. Welcome. My name is Cindy, and around here we do deep growth. This channel is for leaders, seekers, and anyone who's ready to grow in a way that feels real, not performative. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now. Today, we're going to talk about something that's simple to understand, but often hard to practice: compassion. Not as a concept, but as a way of living, a way of leading, a way of creating peace from the inside out. Compassion is power. You may have not heard that before, but I want you to sit with this and sit with what's coming up. We've been conditioned to believe that strength looks like control, that it's loud, that it's bullying, that it has this huge presence, that it looks like doing more, being more, and having to prove something. But that's all external. And let's be honest, that kind of success often leaves us disconnected from ourselves, from the people we care about, and from what actually matters. And here's a couple of things that we need to shift. Understanding that compassion is not soft, it's a skill that, like any other skill, can be cultivated. Now, you might be wondering, what do you mean it's a skill? There's people who are naturally compassionate. Yes and no. There are many people that carry the essence of compassion, the energy of compassion, but they have built neural pathways, habits that reinforce that type of, and that is why it is a skill that can become part of who you are if that is something you choose, which I recommend, but you must be aligned to it. Why is compassion a skill? Let's dig deeper. It is that thing that allows you to pause before reacting, to stay connected even when things get uncomfortable or shaky, to lead. And it's the thing that allows you to lead in a way that's very grounded and deeply human. Now, there is some science and a spiritual side to this idea of compassion being a skill. Let's talk about what's actually happening when we practice compassion. From a neuroscientific perspective, compassion increases activity in the insula, the part of your brain that processes empathy and emotional regulation. It also boosts oxytocin, the hormone that builds connection and trust. That means it lowers stress, lowers anxiety, and creates more calm. If it does those things, isn't it something that we would want to cultivate from a purely scientific perspective? From a spiritual perspective, compassion aligns us with something higher. It reminds us that we're all learning, we're all healing, and we are all worthy of grace while we grow. And equally important, that we can give grace to others. This is where leadership becomes transformation, when we stop performing and start showing up. And we can be practical about it. There is what I like to call practical compassion. Let's get into the how. Here are 3 practices I use and teach that can make compassion a daily, grounded habit. 1, pause before you respond. Before reacting, take 1 breath. Ask yourself, what's actually needed here? That one moment creates space for choice instead of reaction. 2, talk to yourself like you're someone you care about. Notice your inner tone. If you wouldn't say it to someone you love, don't say it to yourself. When things are feeling hard and you might feel negative speech towards yourself coming on, you can say, it's okay to be learning. I'm still worthy. This one shift builds emotional safety from within. This third one is powerful. Look past the behavior. When somebody acts out, it's often out of pain, not intention. To be clear, I'm not saying that some people do not act intentionally cruel or painful. It's important to be discerning if it's coming from a place of someone having a certain level of meanness or unkindness to them, or if it's a reactive mechanism. When it's a reactive mechanism, it's usually out of pain, not ill intent. If that were to happen, ask yourself, what might they be carrying? This doesn't mean you should tolerate poor behavior. No, you should always have strong boundaries, but it helps you stay grounded instead of react when people misbehave. Why does this create inner peace? We don't need to become more perfect to find peace. You don't need an app. You do not need extra work. You have to become more compassionate with yourself first. As you learn to have compassion with yourself, to see yourself with the eyes of compassion, to ask the very question that we asked earlier about another person. What are they carrying? What are you carrying? What is leading you to act a certain way? When you start noticing and witnessing, you stop judging yourself and your process. When you stop judging yourself, you stop judging people's processes too. That actually does something very interesting to our nervous system. It settles it. It also softens relationships, and you can breathe a little bit easier. This is where peace comes in. Last week, there was an episode on peace, and one of the things that we talked about in that episode was being the peace, remembering the peace, embodying the peace, not working for it, not being performative about it. The thing is that when you stop judging yourself, when you start having compassion for yourself, when you start being still and embodying who you are, that's where the peace comes from. You remember the peace, you choose the peace, you claim the peace, you are the peace. There's no performing here, there's being. I want you to think about that because compassion is usually what helps us get there, get to most places that we want, whether it is achievement, whether it is goals, whether, whatever it is. When you can do things from a place of compassion, of love, you can be excited about what you do because you're loving yourself, you're being compassionate towards yourself. The previous episode, we talked about the 90-20 minute shift where you work for 90 minutes, which is an optimal time to be focused, and then you reset for 20 minutes where you give yourself a break. When you do something like that, it's being compassionate towards yourself. It's creating the space for you to be more productive and feel more refreshed versus drained. Compassion does many things for us. And today we just talked about a small leg of it, but it is the foundation for your success, for your leadership, for how you see yourself and others. We will be talking more on this subject in other episodes, but I thought that this would be a great way to pique your interest. Compassion is the gateway to success. If you found this interesting, please subscribe and stay connected. And drop a comment below on how you are being more compassionate and less judgmental towards yourself. There's also a couple of free ebooks in the description below, my gift to you. If you'd like to have a one-on-one session with me, all of the information is below. Until next time, make it a great day and be compassionate towards yourself.